Hey there everybody, how y'all doing? So similar to the One Marvelous Scene and One Excellent Scenes from previous years, some of my personal favorite YouTubers like Cinema Wins, Nando V Movies, and Brown Table have come together for a new mass video essay project called One Villainous Scene. It's a series where you can pick any good scene of a villain and basically just explain why you like it so much. And when it comes to good villains in fictional media, you're not exactly pressed for choice. And even when it comes to Thanos scenes, which I'm sure you've guessed is the topic of this video, you're not really pressed for choice there either. Thanos is undoubtedly one of the most iconic villains of all time, and he has many scenes that are far more impactful and iconic. But if you ask me, the one I've chosen to look at today is super underrated. Yes, today we are going to be looking at the opening Thanos scene of Avengers Infinity War. So first things first, I want to give you the basic synopsis of the scene. Like I said, this is the first scene of the movie, and considering how the MCU had been hyping Thanos up for like 6 whole years and 12 movies, it was extremely important that he made a good first impression. And boy, does he make a good first impression. Not only does he annihilate half of the remaining Asgardians, he then proceeds to beat up the two most powerful Avengers and kill off two main characters in one scene. Which, if you watch the MCU, you know that usually doesn't happen. Now this scene is great for many reasons, but right off the bat, I want to talk about arguably the best thing that makes this scene so effective. Power scaling. Yes, you heard me correctly, and no, power scaling is not just some random thing for shonen nerds. There's actually evidence that these movies pay attention to power scaling a lot. The Hulk and Thor are not just some random Avengers, they are the strongest Avengers, regardless of who's number 1 and who's number 2. And that's also the main purpose of the We Have a Hulk callback to the first movie.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
I'm not Asgardian, and for another, we have a Hulk.
Right off the bat in the opening scene, this movie tells you that the efforts of the previous movies aren't gonna be enough to defeat the bad guy this time, and it instantly raises the stakes. Because in the first Avengers movie, the Hulk was basically their ace in the hole. He was the last card up their sleeves. And in this opening scene, he's getting his ass handed to him.
He needs some milk.
Jesus Christ.
I also really like that despite having an Infinity Stone already, he doesn't actually use it to beat the Hulk. He doesn't use it to augment his strength or anything. He literally just beats him with regular taijutsu. He's so strong that he doesn't even need an Infinity Phone to defeat the quote-unquote strongest Avenger. That's badass. But I can't talk about this villainous scene without first acknowledging the other former villain in the room. Loki. Because this scene also doubles as Loki's death scene. Well, sorta. And like another villain once said, you don't really find out who you are until you're about to die. There's no fake outs, no tricks, no illusions this time. In this scene, Loki has to make the ultimate final choice to either side with the new villain or redeem himself. And somehow, despite everything, Loki chooses the latter. And for a brief second, you almost think it's gonna go how other movies go, where the former villain teams up with the newer villain and the heroes have to stop him. And you expect Loki might betray his brother because he's done it so many times before. But no, despite everything, in the moment of his death, Loki chooses the right thing. He chooses to love his brother. And yes, I know I'm supposed to be talking about the villains of the scene, but Loki was technically a former villain, so leave me alone. And in any case, it all goes back to what I was saying before about power scaling and juxtaposition. Because this is the very first scene of the movie and the new villain has already killed off both the former villain and the former Last Hope. You just instantly know that he is levels above anything we've ever fought before. I should also mention that the Hulk tends to have this running gag where he makes the big bad of the movie look like a complete clown. In both of the previous two movies, there was a scene to support this.
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
You know, with the benefit of hindsight.
Shut your bitch ass up!
But not this time, baby. Thanos wants all the smoke. But the last thing that makes this scene so great that I forgot to mention is death. Relevant characters actually die in this scene. And if you've watched the MCU for long enough, you know that that's not something that usually happens. In one scene, Thanos has already killed off more main characters than Loki did in the entire first Avengers movie. And if you've seen the rest of the movie, you know he's just getting started. As such, this scene beautifully sets the tone for the rest of the film. It blasts Thor off into space to meet the Guardians of the Galaxy and gives him his core motivation for the rest of the story. And when the former strongest Avenger gets sent crashing back down to Earth, and the only thing he can muster up enough strength to say is, you believe him. And not 10 seconds later, the opening title sequence hits. Fucking goosebumps. And just like that, you know you are in for some real shit. Now before we finish, there are a few other cool things about the scene that I forgot to mention. For starters, the visuals in this scene especially are fantastic. The lighting, cinematography, and color all contribute to the menacing feel of this moment. And I can honestly say the same thing about Alan Silvestri's haunting score. And lastly, can I also just say that I love the way this man talks. There's a reason why Thanos is probably the most infinitely quotable villain in existence, because his dialogue is just so damn good. I honestly think that half the reason why Thanos is so iconic is because his dialogue is just so damn memorable.
Read it. Run from it, destiny arrives all the same.
And now it's here. Or should I say, I am.
I have no fucking clue what you just said, but hell yeah, man, I'm gonna speak my truth.
So yeah, I appreciate other opening scenes where it shows that the villain is smart and strategic, but I can also appreciate a scene where it just shows that the villain is really fucking strong and really smart as well. It's a scene that introduces the new villain and makes us fear him while also concluding and starting several character arcs. It is an absolutely brilliant scene, and this, ladies and gentlemen, has been my One Villainous Scene. Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching my YouTube video. I want to give another special shout out and thanks to Nando V Movies and everyone else who started this project. If you'd like to make a video of your own on a villain, then make sure to do so and add it to the playlist. But also before you go, remember to please like, share, and subscribe because I literally do videos like this all the time, so you're gonna want to stick around. You can also click here to follow me on social media and keep up to date with my latest videos, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.